Hey, welcome in. I'm Mike Pilch, another episode of Pilch's Perspective. I'm talking about something that's not going to be a real popular opinion, though I will say most people I know have never disagreed with me after they've thought of it. So I will say that. The NCAA tournament is upon us, and it's been fantastic. Okay. And that'll sound a little contradictory from what I'm going to say here, but it has been a lot of fun. It's really been fantastic just to have it back this year after missing it last year. That's been phenomenal. But the NCAA tournament is probably the single worst way you can determine a champion. It is utterly dumb. Give me a chance here. Like I said, everyone I know that I've told this to hasn't really disagreed with me when they think about it. But you play a long season, 30 some games, and then you play the made for TV conference tournament afterwards. You play a tough non-conference schedule to build up a good resume. You go through your own league. In basically every sport, the teams that are the best during the regular season and have a lot of the best computer numbers are probably the best teams. And I understand that nobody's playing the exact same schedule, and that all plays a factor in it. Don't get me wrong. But over the course of a long season, those are going to be the best teams. Then you get into an NCAA tournament where it's not a series that you're playing here. It's a one and done situation. And everything can go away in one game. Okay. That's it. Ohio State can have a terrible game against Oral Roberts, just have a bad day. That's it. Everything you worked for all year is done. Illinois has their best season since 2005, plays an exceedingly underseeded Loyola team who should have been like a 4 seed or something. In round 2, gets beat. This great year for the Illini is not going to end up at a Final Four or national championship. Now, it's only going to end up at a national championship for one school. I understand that. But a school like Illinois deserves realistically to be at least an Elite Eight team. And you just happen to get beat one day or have a bad day to have a bad day, and your season is over. A one and done scenario is not determinant of who the best team is. The only sport out there of the major sports that is a one game situation is football, where you just play week by week. The 3 other major sports, they're all series sports. And to determine a national champion based on a quick one and done scenario where you could have a couple of players who get the flu that week, or maybe you have an off week and that team you play is a great week. I understand what makes the tournament great, and I get it all. Don't get me wrong. I love the tournament. It's fun this year with all the upsets, but it's an exceedingly dumb way to determine your champion. You could be like, hey, yay, we're the Pac-12 regular season champs. But wait, we're the Pac-12 tournament champs. And then a third team's like, but we got to the Final Four. Who had the best year? What are you, in the long run, what are you really playing for? What determines that? To me, the team that's really the champ, like if you look at a conference, is the team that wins the regular season championship, because you've at least played every team in the league at least once, sometimes twice. And it's way more determinant than the quick made for TV tournament that really the conference tournaments are. So to me, if you win the regular season, you're really the conference champ. And just to have a one and done. Now, I understand in the end, when you look at the teams that win it most years, it's still usually one of those top teams that wins it. When you look at Gonzaga, how good they are, and the bracket they're in, they're going to be tough to be taken out. That doesn't mean they're going to be taken out. Doesn't mean they won't be taken out. But, and I understand they try to make it so it's fair that way. But man, is it a dumb way to determine a champ. You can be like a 16-13 team over the course of a long season and against pretty good competition. You're obviously not elite. Happen to win your first game, pull an upset in the second game, all of a sudden you're a Sweet 16 team. That just doesn't really add up and make sense. I get what makes it great, and I get into it, and just having it back this year, I think it's been one of the biggest things of normalcy over the last year was the NCAA selection show. That to me felt like the normalcy was back as much as anything. But man, it's just a silly way to determine it. And here's the thing, we got into like a family bracket this year. The first time we did that, my parents, my siblings, my in-laws, and a couple of my little nephews did it just for fun too. If a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old can arbitrarily pick games correctly over people that maybe work in the business for a living, what does that say? That says things are pretty darn random when a family member who doesn't pay attention to it and who picks matchups because they want to see, you know, Ohio play Ohio State, or if like Colgate were in it, Colgate play Oral Roberts because that would be funny. And they're doing better than a lot of other people that are supposedly experts. What does that say about the legitimacy of determining who the best teams are? It doesn't say much. One of my nephews picked Georgetown and Georgia Tech because it had the name George in it. And George is the name of the brother in Peppa Pig. And it didn't work out in their case, but it could have. And you're arbitrarily picking names for that reason. People complain about the college football playoff being 4 teams. They're pretty much the best teams getting in every year. So it's like a true champ. This is, and I understand again that usually it's one of the best teams that does in the end win it, but it is the ultimate style over substance way of determining your champion. Now, if you look at some of the other sports in college athletics, I mean, I understand because of being in school, it's hard to play a longer series, but I know in college hockey, in their tournament, it's a one and done. You don't have as many teams getting in. You don't have as many teams playing college hockey, so it's a little harder to get in. But it's still, because of the fewer amount of teams, easier to go deeper. College baseball probably does it the most accurate way in that you're at least playing a series to advance in every round. You get the qualifying groups and the at-larges. I don't know if a lot of people know how it works in college baseball, but like in the regionals, the first round has 64 teams and 16 brackets. It's a double elimination bracket with 4 teams. Okay. So until you lose 2 games, you're not out of it. The winner of that then goes to the super regional. The 16 winners of the regional move on to the super regionals, where they're split in 8 pairings. Those are all a best of 3 series. Okay. And then the 8 winners of the super regional advance to the College World Series in Omaha. They're in the 2 separate double elimination brackets of 4 teams each. So it's double elimination. And then when you get to the College World Series final, it's a best of 3 series. Maybe not a perfect way, but you get through all those rounds and get through all those series. That's still a way better format for determining a champ than you have in basketball. If basketball wanted to, they could use that same exact format to determine a champ. Never going to happen because of TV and the pop culture phenomenon that March Madness is, thanks to Larry and Magic. But, and I get all that. I mean, I get all of that. Okay. It is not beyond me or anything, but I am one that believes you should be rewarded for hard work. And I know in the everybody gets a trophy era, there's a lot of people that don't have that opinion. They like the style. Well, you know, why doesn't this team get a chance? Why doesn't BYU or Boise State get a chance at the college football playoff? Well, sometimes you have to prove yourself through good competition to get there. Okay. It's hard to get into the college football playoff, and the teams that are usually there in any metric are usually really good. That's why it's really kind of a true champion, even if it is a lot of the same teams. We've been over how a lot of sports have a lot of the same teams. But, you know, it's like a team like an Illinois who plays a tough schedule, has a good record, earns it on the court. The computers like him as well, have all the squad 1 wins. They should be rewarded by getting more than a second round ouster. And I actually know a diehard Illinois fan who was fine with them winning the Big Ten tournament and getting that championship, and I get that. And that's fine for him. And he says, the randomness of the NCAA tournament, it's hard to win a national title. So I'm not going to hang my hat on that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. But I think you should be rewarded for proving yourself over a long season, putting the time in and the effort. And you shouldn't be done with one loss because, again, it's not indicative of the better team, and you probably deserve it a little more. But we really don't live in that world. In college basketball, look, this tournament's been around since 1939. Now it's grown in the number of teams, which makes it different. But it's just the way it is. I get it. I get all of it. I like it. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the tournament so far this year. But I hear all these people going gaga over these big upsets, and I'm like, it's kind of dumb. I get it's cool that the 15 seeds in the Sweet 16. I get it. And it's great for that fan base and that school and those kids. It's fantastic. Probably will help maybe getting a few extra kids going there. Who knows? But you've got to find a better way to determine a champion. Then it'll never happen in that. And I get it. I get it. I get all of it. I've said that a lot. But it is the single dumbest way you can possibly determine who your sports champion is. It just is. So I got to say, had to get it off my chest. This comes up every year. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but I've really never heard a person make an argument against it as well. I'm just one that believes you should be rewarded for proving yourself over the course of a long season, not getting in because of some seventh place team in their conference getting in and making a run. If you're seventh in your conference, you shouldn't be in the tournament. Just shouldn't. Had to get it off my chest. So this wasn't so much a historical perspective this time. It's a little up to date on some of the things I always don't agree with in sports. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's also really dumb. I am Mike Pilch. As part of Pilch's perspective, we'll talk to you in a week.